The Chicago Bears just pulled off a wild last-minute trade, giving up both of their remaining draft picks to jump up and secure a player who literally broke the athletic testing scale. They didn't just draft a developmental prospect. They landed a perfect 10 out of 10 physical anomaly who is also making absolute history in the National Football League. You have to see the staggering numbers on defensive tackle Jordan van Denberg, because this late-round steal could completely disrupt our defensive trenches. Before we dive into this absolute blockbuster end to our draft, make sure you smash that like button, share this video with every diehard fan you know, and hit subscribe so you never miss our daily deep dives. Seriously, why would a front office empty their remaining clip for a single guy in the 6th round unless they believed he possessed true, game-changing potential? That is the exact question we need to answer today, and the drama behind the scenes makes this move even more fascinating. Let us take a smooth, detailed look at how this all went down. To jump back up the board, the front office sent pick number 239 and pick number 241 all the way over to the Buffalo Bills in exchange for pick number 213. At this point, it is almost a running joke how much our general manager Ryan Poles and Bills general manager Brandon Beane love to make deals with each other. It feels like every single draft cycle, these two are on the phone swapping assets and maneuvering around the board. It is a certified tradition, and they made it happen once again to secure a player who is nothing short of a physical marvel. Assuming there are no unexpected, last-second trades to jump back into the 7th round, this right here serves as the absolute final selection for your Chicago Bears in the 2026 NFL Draft. And honestly, what an incredible way to close the show. We are talking about Jordan van Denberg, a defensive tackle out of Georgia Tech, and calling him just an athlete feels like a massive understatement. This guy is a uniquely terrifying physical specimen. When you pull up his relative athletic score, the metric we use to compare draft prospects historically, he graded out as a literal, flawless 10 out of 10. You heard that right. A perfect score. No defensive tackle in the history of this metric has ever tested better. Let us break down exactly what those testing numbers look like, because they are bound to blow your mind. He stands at a towering 6'3" and weighs in at a rock-solid, incredibly dense 310 pounds. At that massive size, he stepped up to the bench press and threw up 35 repetitions of 225 pounds. That is an elite, top-tier number that showcases pure, unadulterated upper body strength, the kind of strength you need to stack and shed massive offensive guards in the NFL. But it is not just about raw, immovable power, it is about pure explosiveness. His vertical jump and his broad jump are completely off the charts for a man of his stature. The guy actually ran a sub-5-second flat 40-yard dash weighing 310 pounds. On top of all that, he participated in the short shuttle drill. This is a drill that a lot of heavier, interior defensive linemen actively avoid nowadays because it exposes a lack of lateral agility and flexibility. Then Denberg not only participated, he scored a 9.97 out of 10 in that specific category. He is quick, he is incredibly explosive, and he has that immediate, terrifying burst to get up the field and wreck the offensive game plan before it even develops. He fits that classic Dennis Allen prototype perfectly, a menacing, interior disruptor who can penetrate the A and B gaps with terrifying speed. Question of the day time. I have a controversial one for you, and I need you to head down to the comments right now and let your voice be heard. Do you think trading away your last 2 draft picks for a rotational defensive tackle is a stroke of absolute front office genius? Or do you think it is a massive waste of precious draft capital? Let me know exactly how you feel, drop your answers below, and let's get a fierce debate going. When you analyze the current state of this roster, you really have to wonder where a guy like Jordan van Denberg seamlessly fits into the defensive rotation. Obviously, you're entrenched. Everyday starters on the interior are going to be Gervon Dexter and the seasoned veteran Grady Jarrett. Those two are absolutely locked into their roles. But behind them, it is going to be an absolute dogfight for rotational snaps. Right now, you realistically have to slot van Denberg slightly behind guys like Neville Gallimore and James Lynch. You also have Kentavious Street battling in that exact same trenches group. But here is the ultimate kicker. The front office aggressively traded up for van Denberg. They willingly surrendered multiple draft assets just to go get him. When a team does that, it sends a loud, undeniable message that they view this player as someone who has a very realistic, highly decent chance to push for a final 53-man roster spot and carve out a legitimate rotational role on this football team from day one. The on-field production absolutely backs up the athletic traits, too. He put together a highly impressive, disruptive campaign last year for the Yellow Jackets. Over the course of his final season, he racked up 44 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and a whopping 29 quarterback pressures from the interior defensive line. It is also incredibly important to note his winding college journey. He is a 6-year college veteran, taking full advantage of the extra eligibility rules we have seen dominating the sport lately. He started out his major college career with a stint at Penn State, spending 3 years developing with the Nittany Lions, before transferring down to Georgia Tech for his final 2 seasons to truly showcase his abilities and get consistent playing time. And we absolutely cannot gloss over the incredible historical context of this particular draft pick. Jordan van den Berg hails originally from South Africa. By hearing his name called on the broadcast, he officially became the first ever South African-born player to be selected in the long, storied history of the NFL draft. That is an incredibly cool nugget of information and a massive, celebrated milestone for international representation in American football. Highly respected draft analyst Dane Brugler actually had some fantastic, revealing things to say about Van den Berg's profile. Brugler openly noted that while he might be considered a bit of a late bloomer in terms of his actual on-field technique, his 2025 game tape revealed a prospect with undeniable, NFL-caliber size, elite physical traits, and a completely relentless motor. I absolutely love hearing that a player possesses a high motor. You simply cannot teach effort, and when you combine non-stop, whistle-to-whistle hustle with a perfect athletic score, you have a recipe for a serious sleeper hit. Fellow draft analyst Tom Downey was also super high on him, ranking Van den Berg inside his top 200 overall big board at number 197, praising him specifically as a high-level athlete. The character reports leaking out are glowing as well, with former teammates and coaching staffs constantly lauding his leadership presence and steady demeanor in the locker room. Now, there is a bit of dramatic irony regarding how this pick actually went down in real time. Earlier in the 6th round, the Atlanta Falcons snagged a defensive tackle named Antario Thompson. The Bears had actually brought Thompson in for an official pre-draft visit, and it looked like he was heavily on our radar as a priority target. But the moment Thompson went off the board to Atlanta, perhaps with a little inside influence from former Bears front office executive Ian Cunningham, who is over there now, the Bears' war room clearly had to pivot their strategy. You can almost imagine the mild panic and the immediate reaction inside the building. Okay, Thompson is officially gone. Van den Berg is our next highest-rated guy on the board. We cannot risk losing him to another team. We have to go up and get him right this second. So, they pull the trigger, trade both sevens, secure their guy, and essentially empty their pockets for the remainder of the draft. Looking at the big picture of this weekend, the front office clearly established a specific athletic threshold they were targeting, and Van den Berg fits that overall vision flawlessly. In fact, if you review the entire Day 3 haul, it is beautifully clear they found incredible value where other teams were sleeping. They managed to grab 3 defensive players on the final day who all have a legitimate, fighting chance to contribute heavily as rookies and potentially develop into full-time starters down the road. Let us smoothly recap this entire, exhausting, but utterly thrilling 2026 Bears draft class from top to bottom. It all kicked off on Thursday night with a massive, calculated splash. They stood confidently pat at 25th overall and landed the phenomenal Oregon safety, Dylan Thieneman, completely fortifying the back end of the secondary. Then, on Day 2, they grabbed the hard-nosed, gritty Iowa center Logan Jones at 57th overall to anchor the offensive line, followed seamlessly by Stanford tight end Sam Roush at pick 69. Later on, they added LSU wide receiver Xavion Thomas at 89th overall, and I am beyond excited to see exactly what kind of explosive, creative vision offensive coordinator Ben Johnson has in store for a dynamic playmaker of his caliber. Some fans were admittedly freaking out and melting down a bit yesterday, loudly complaining on social media about the perceived lack of value on Day 2. But looking back, you cannot deny that they absolutely cleaned up and found phenomenal steals on Day 3 to balance it all out. Grabbing Texas cornerback Malik Muhammad at 124 overall is absolute highway robbery. That is a talented cover corner who easily possessed a third-round grade on many expert boards. Then they snagged Arizona State linebacker Keyshaun Elliott at 166. Elliott was actually a top 85 overall player on Dane Brugler's big board. While he might not step in and start on day one, his talent level suggests he will fiercely push the veterans in training camp. And of course, they capped it all off by aggressively moving up for the athletic marvel himself, Jordan van Denberg. Starting the week with 7 picks, navigating multiple complex trades, and ending up with 7 highly intriguing prospects from Dylan Thieneman all the way to history maker Jordan van Denberg. It is a masterclass in patient, calculated roster building. But the work is not completely over just yet for this front office. We are rapidly entering the chaotic, fast-paced undrafted free agency period, and my jaw is firmly on the floor looking at some of the premium talent still sitting quietly on the board. I am completely shocked that LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier has not been drafted yet. Big, physical Iowa defensive lineman Max Lelin is still sitting there waiting for his phone to ring. The later it gets, the higher the chance these guys slip entirely into the undrafted pool where we can scoop them up without spending a single draft pick. I would be absolutely ecstatic if we could lure a dynamic, route-running wide receiver like Deion Burks as an undrafted free agent. He has the raw, undeniable talent to make this 53-man roster right out of the gate. If Llewellyn falls out of the draft completely, you have to call his agent immediately. What about Kansas State defensive back VJ Payne? He has the athletic profile to be an absolute menace in the secondary. And do not forget Navy's offensive weapon Eli Heidenreich. It will be fascinating to see if a team takes a late flyer on him, or if he hits the open market entirely. We will be dropping our comprehensive, final draft grades very shortly, completely breaking down every single move, pick, and undrafted signing in painstaking detail. Make sure your notifications are turned all the way on so you do not miss a single second of the action. Bear down.